If clubs went more fan-owned in the UK, it would probably lead to better outcomes. Something that we'll probably talk about is the European Super League. And in the case of the UK clubs in the UK Super League, none of them actually consulted with the fans before going through with this. So we see, exactly. So we see a lot of decisions being made with these increasingly commercialized clubs, really just to make more money. Like one of the biggest goals of clubs nowadays isn't so much to do charity work in the community. It's more about selling kits overseas, or it's more about maximizing revenue. So there's very little thought to fans in football clubs. I mean, you could almost argue that the acronym FC stands for football company in the UK these days, unfortunately.
Is it all about the profit motive? Is it all about pound, shilling and pence? Or is it also a bit of a status trip, if you like, for owners? Do they do it because they like the power and the prestige of owning a football club, coupled with the fact that they can rinse a load of money through it?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of all that. It is a bit of a power trip or an ego or vanity project for owners. But yes, the clubs these days seem to be a lot more focused on the money. They are very commercialized, and they seem to, I guess you could say, they take fans for granted. They think the fans will always be there. They'll always be attending in the stadium. They'll always be buying the merchandise. They'll always be subscribing to the TV services. And you're seeing more and more people starting to get frustrated and walk away from the game, or in some cases go and join non-league clubs instead, or form breakaway clubs, because the club's ethos doesn't really seem to be about the fans. I think the fans are being taken for granted a lot these days. And I think with the internet and social media, fans are discussing a lot more the power that they do have, and that the protests that they can participate in do go a long way. So we're seeing a bit of a shift, especially at clubs like Liverpool now. We're seeing a bit of a shift since the collapse of the European Super League. So it is promising. This summer actually marks the 20th anniversary since clubs started to go fan-owned in the UK. There's about 50 clubs in England now, maybe about 65, including all of the UK. So it's positive. We're seeing a lot more changes. But yeah, the big clubs are very, very commercialized and focused. And unfortunately, fans have little say, even though really the clubs should be about them. If you think about what a club should be, members in a club should have a say. But in most clubs, unfortunately, they have little to zero say.
Was that a moment in the beautiful game? Could be crystallised as a moment where actually, you saw a grovelling apology from Liverpool Football Club to their fans saying, we're listening, and the Glazers as well at Manchester United, all on bended knee now, we're terribly sorry. Is that a moment, a crystallised moment where the fight back has begun from fans?
I think so. It's certainly made a lot more fans appreciate the power that they do have. Right. There have been supporters' trusts around since, I guess, 1992, but very few fans were involved with them. But the supporters' trusts were instrumental in organizing protests against the European Super League, for example. So fans do seem to know now that they have a lot more power than they did in the past, and they're willing to flex that muscle. And as you said, we've seen some of the clubs finally have a mea culpa, a bit of a kowtow to the fans. That does seem to be helping. So it does seem like the European Super League's collapse, this 3-day circus, was a bit of an event for allowing supporters to know the true power that they do have. And we are seeing some of the muscles being flexed already.